Oh, yeah, championship weekend, baby. I love it. Like, this is one of my favorite college football days of the year. Because once you get to the playoffs, there's only 2 games and then 1 game. And the regular season, let's be honest, we have some weeks that are good, some weeks that you're like, You know this is good every year. Settle in. Friday night, Oregon, Washington. And then Saturday, you start at noon, and then 4 o'clock on CBS. Georgia, Bama, yeah. Michigan, Iowa. And again, I think the Iowa team total is comical. Their team total for the game is 6.5. You can bet it. 6.5 for Iowa for the whole game. Louisville, Florida State. Florida State, look, they're an interesting case. You know the whole country and the committee is rooting against them. They don't have the quarterback anymore. People want them out of there. Let me get my guys in. Everybody's rooting for them because they're crushing it for us. I'm Eric Casilius. Let's bring in Kenny White, Wizard of Odds. John Berger, love having him aboard. And let's start right out of the gate. And I'm going to go first because I think we disagree, Kenny, so you can tell me why I'm wrong. I think Oregon is going to absolutely smash Washington. I think they are better pretty much everywhere. They have so much revenge on their mind. They should have never lost the first time they played, which was at Washington in a weird game. Now they're on a neutral field. I project this game to be like 37-17. Oregon might score 40. Easy. Like, I can't see Oregon being under 35. They are rolling like Limp Bizkit said it back in the 90s. Give me the Ducks. I don't care what uniforms they wear. I think Oregon, it just, everything seems to me like it's just that rematch all the way back to when Florida State and Florida played, and they had the regular season, they played a rematch for the national championship, and Florida beat them 52-20. They are not going to let up, and they want to get in the playoff, so they are not going to let up. It's going to be foot on the gas. 9.5 is going to be gone by the end of the first half. Tell me why I'm wrong.
Well, because don't you think Washington wants to do the same thing? They want to win by 30 in this game. They want to keep their foot on the pedal. They want to blow Oregon out of the water. They want to ensure themselves, a playoff chance. And they've done it before. They've been there. This Washington Husky team has, not these players, but this university. I have Oregon the favorite. I think Oregon should be the favorite in the game. When I made my number, I said, wow. I've got such a high number on this game. I can't believe how high I'm at. I'm at Oregon minus 7.5. How could I be so high in a championship game? And then the number comes out, and it comes out higher than mine, and it's drawing money, and it's up to 10. And that's easy to see. My numbers have been adjusted throughout the year because of what I've seen over the last 6 weeks. Oregon, 5 of their last 6 opponents, they've won by 14 or more. Washington, 8 straight wins by 10 or less. They've been in a competitive game for 8 straight weeks now, the Washington Huskies. So, when you're not blowing people out and getting big leads, your power rating's not going to go up as fast. Now, there is a different strength of schedule. Oregon has played the 45th strength of schedule in my power ratings, and Washington number 20. So Washington has played the far better strength of schedule. And I think Michael Penix Jr. is the better quarterback between Bo Nix and him. I think Michael Penix Jr. starts in the NFL next year because he throws the best football in college football. He's got the best spin. He's got the best arm strength of any college player. I think Bo Nix is a career backup quarterback in the NFL at best. So I think I have an advantage at quarterback, EK. I think I got an advantage with the best player on the field. Rome Odunze for Washington, best player on the field. Best player on the field. He will score 2 touchdowns. You want a touchdown scorer? Rome Odunze scoring a touchdown.
All right, 37.5-28, by the way, is the projected totals for each team. So it should be fireworks. It should be fun. Kenny and I going head-to-head on that one. All right, John, you're up for Oklahoma State and Texas. And, look, it's interesting with Texas. Like, if Alabama gets in over Texas and they're both one-loss teams, I'm going to scream from the mountaintops. Because remember, Texas walked into Bama and smacked them around in Tuscaloosa. Spread is 14.5 in this game. It was 11 when it came out. They can't find anybody to take the pokes in this spot. Your total is 54.5. It's not quite the 66.5 that you have up, or 65.5 that you have in the Pac-12, but 54.5 is interesting. I guess you and I are going head-to-head in this one too, so I'll go first. You can tell me why I'm wrong. I like the under, and here's why I like the under. At this point in time, Oklahoma State is just running the ball, and they're doing it pretty well. But Texas can stop the run. So one of two things is going to happen. Either Oklahoma State is not going to be able to run the ball, in which case they're not going to be able to score many points, in which case, unless Texas is putting 40 on the board, we're going under 54.5. Or two, Oklahoma State will be able to run the ball. And you know what that means? Tick, 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 churn, churn, tick, tick, tick. And this game becomes 27-20, which is still way under. So whether they can run the ball or not run the ball, I just see that 54.5 is too many. John Berger, why am I wrong?
EK, I have office hours today, so come on in and let's talk about that. I just disagree with the logic, okay? We're going to go over. This is why I have this office. There's a chair sitting right here. We can talk about the logic. We can unpack the numbers. So a couple of things have informed this. First of all, I was down in Austin last week, and let me tell you something. We might want to go on a 4-shot for Kenny and for EK and myself, because you guys are hinting on playoff implications. So let's just go ahead and talk about it in the context of all the games we're going to pick. Let me tell you something. Texas is keenly aware, guys, of their position. They're keenly aware of what they have to do this week. And that don't mean just win the game. They're keenly aware of what's going on with Washington and Oregon. Okay, so let's talk about this game. So you asked me over, under. You asked me to pick the spread. I'm going to take the over. I get EK's logic makes a ton of sense, but here's the deal. Okay, Oklahoma State, I don't know who's going to show up. You go back and you look some of their tape. You look at Kansas. I don't know who's going to show up in that game. Kansas, they won the game, but they almost got them. You look at UCF. UCF blew Oklahoma State off the field. I mean, it was a ugly football game. My point is this. I don't know who's going to show up. Now, Mike Gundy is a coach. You have to respect him. You got to applaud what he's done in Stillwater over 10 years. This is probably the most consistent coach in the Big 12, certainly one of them. No idea who's they're going to show up. Let's talk about Texas. Let's talk about the difference makers. This is arguably the top front seven, certainly in the top 5 front seven defensively. I believe that since week 1, and I believe it now. Front 7, very solid for Texas, one of the top 5 in the country. EK, you mentioned it. What is Oklahoma State going to do? Good luck, guys, running the football into the teeth of the Texas defense. And they'll get some quick hitters up in the first quarter. And Gundy's a good enough coach and a coordinator to figure out how to attack the edges. They're going to put some points on the board. But let's talk about Texas defensively. Number 1 in the conference, points per game. Number 1 yards per game. Number 1 against the rush. Number 1 against the red zone. Do you understand my point? Top 5 defense the entire season. They are keenly aware of what's going on. The only way you could beat Texas in this situation was with tempo and a mobile quarterback, and that's not how Oklahoma State's offense rolls. I think there's going to be points scored. Gundy will manufacture some points. Texas is keenly aware of this situation. They need a statement win, and I don't mean a statement win by 2 touchdowns or even 3. They need to come out and blow this team off the field because there is playoff implications. We're going to talk about that later in the show because let me run a scenario for you. Let's assume Bama beats Georgia by a small margin. Let's say they can get that done. I think they can get that done. Then you're looking at Texas. You're looking at Washington and Oregon for that 4th spot. They're keenly aware. Take the over. There's going to be some major league points scored in this game.
All I'm saying, even if you win 37-17, that would actually still be an under. They're not giving it away. So we'll find out. Again, I'm head-to-head with Kenny on one, I'm head-to-head on John the other. All right, quickly, let's go Georgia, Bama, CBS. This game is the most fascinating of all of them. Of course, it's on CBS, Saturday, 4 Eastern. Kenny, you're first. How do you see it?
Yeah, I think it's a close game. I think it's going to go down to the wire. Last team that scores wins the football game. Alabama has the revenge factor from losing the national championship the last time these two teams played. And remember, they beat Georgia 41-24 the last time they played in the SEC title game. Georgia really didn't care that day. They didn't really show up, but they sure did in the national championship game. This is not that same type of Georgia team. This Georgia team's ranked 16th in the country in yards per play allowed. The Georgia teams that won national championships were number 1 on defense. There is an edge offensively. Georgia has played far better this year, but Jalen Milroe has gotten better week in and week out. He averages more yards per pass than Carson Beck does, and he's thrown 21 touchdowns and 6 INTs, almost identical to Beck, who has 22 and 6. I think it's a very, very close game between these two major rivals, and it goes right down to the wire. I'm taking the points.
Okay, a lot of reason why you want to take points. You get Nick Saban, you get Bama, you get all that pedigree. John, give me 30 seconds on how you see it.
Last week doesn't matter. You hear people talking about Georgia's performance against Georgia Tech. I don't care. Doesn't matter. Should Bama have lost the game last week? Probably. Guess what? They didn't. These two teams are built to play each other. This is going to be a war up front at the point of attack, offensive and defensive line. Separation is going to be, can Georgia's offensive line get pressure on the quarterback, or defensive line get pressure on the quarterback? I don't know what's going to happen there. Alabama has proven since the week one that they can come back, they can manufacture points, they can create and move the chains, they can create first downs. I think at the end of the day, I think Georgia wins this game. I'm going to take Bama and the points, and I'm going to do it behind Milroe's ability to create some big plays, running the football, creating, improvising, etc.
I'm going over. The SEC title game always seems to be an over. It's a fast track. It's a good track. It's a good environment. And when you look at Georgia, we talk about their defense. Their offense has scored 30 or more 7 straight weeks. 7 straight weeks. And Bama, we know right now, Nick Saban is adjusting to what his roster is, and his roster is a team that's going to try to outscore you. Everybody's got to score points. I see this getting up and down. I'm going to go a rare full game over for me. It's not my favorite play, but that's how I want to play it. All right, Michigan, Iowa. Man, this is interesting. Look at what's going on here. I mean, okay, so it's 34.5 and 22.5. Okay. Iowa is down to 6 as a team total. That's right. The projected score is 28.5 to 6. That would be 34.5. 6 for Iowa. Yuck. Both teams, by the way, 6-5-1 ATS. All right, boys. I have a fixture. I have now nicknamed this the mixtape pick. It's not a good idea for me to do this. It's not going to make me feel good in the morning. But I'm doing it anyway. I'm sending her the mixtape. I'm putting all those slow songs that I love on there. Boys to Men, Jodeci, all that stuff. And it's not going to age well. I'm doing it. I'm taking Iowa over 6, even 6.5. Give me Iowa to get a touchdown by hook or by crook in this game. Hawkeyes to get over 6.5. And this is not going to age well. My mixtape pick. John Berger, what do you want to do?
There's nothing like a boy band mixtape, EK. And I wish I could be with you on that one, man, but I'm just not. We've seen this. We've seen this 3 times. 2021, Michigan, Iowa. 42-3 final score. We saw it in 2022. Michigan, Iowa, 22 or 27-14. I don't think this is all that different. You look at the teams. Are they that different over the last 2 or 3 years? But here's what I'll tell you right now. Michigan, if you look at them, their head coach has been sitting on the sideline for 3 weeks. They got a major league chip on their shoulder. And by the way, they just had their 3rd straight win against Ohio State, which embarrassed this team and embarrassed that program for a little less than a decade. They got a ton of momentum. They want to make a statement. They want to have fun. You look at Iowa, the over-unders. I think that Iowa has hit, and maybe Kenny's got the number. I think the under is hit in like 8, maybe 9 of their last 10 games. It's a huge number. I don't buy it. I'm going to take the over. I think Michigan's going to line up. Here's what I saw Michigan do offensively last week. Against Ohio State, they ran 60 plays and scored 30 points. Against Ohio State, do you think Iowa's defense is better than Ohio State or their front 7? You're crazy. Take the over. Points are going to be scored. Iowa has to score points. And maybe, EK, maybe they even get 10. But I promise you Michigan's going to score points. Take the over. It's crazy. I don't understand the line.
All right, we can both win that. I'll help your over by getting Iowa to 7. And that's it. I give you my 7,
That's
and then
fine.
you get the rest of it with Michigan. Okay.
You send me the mixtape with the boy
That's
bands,
right.
and we're solid, man.
I will not deny or confirm that there's some in sync on that mixtape as well. That's all I'm saying. I'll be the one. Yeah, somebody somewhere. Oh, I forgot I'm contractually obligated not to sing in the show because my voice is terrible. All right, Louisville. Against Florida State, you know the deal, Florida State. No quarterback. I mean, the starting quarterback's out for the year. He got injured. Now they got to go week 2. It was touch and go for a while against Florida. They played a good second half. And you know, with that committee and this injured quarterback, with Florida State, their playoff started last week. To win the national championship, they got to win 4 games. They had to beat Florida, beat Louisville, and then 2 more. If they lose, they are out. If they win, they're making the playoff. It's as simple as that. Spread's 2.5. Kenny, I think we're kind of head-to-head, although there's a little overlap in our Venn diagram. I'm taking Florida State on the money line. I'm seeing, it's already climbing. It's already at 142. Man, when we started the show, it was 137. It just keeps climbing up. Whew. It's a lean for me. I just think Florida State finds a way through. And now that they have had 2 full weeks with their kid, maybe he plays better and they're slightly better. But I don't love it. Tell me why you're going the other way.
Well, it's an offense with Jordan Travis, who was ranked 20th in the country, with Travis at the controls. 224 yards last week versus a Florida defense ranked number 117. They just couldn't move the football. Now they're facing a defense ranked 34th in the country in the Louisville Cardinals. Cardinals off a loss. They lost to the rival Kentucky. I think they're going to have a tough practice. I think they're going to be extremely ready for this game. It's a battle right down to the wire. I don't have a huge edge here, but I did make Louisville a 1.5-point favorite. I think there is an edge at quarterback now for Louisville with their starting quarterback in against Tate Rodemaker. And I do like what I've seen out of Jeff Brom. Guy knows how to coach. At Purdue, his last 2 years, they were 9-4 and 8-5. This year, without him, 4-8. Louisville was 8-5 last year. He goes 10-2 this year. Jeff Brom really is a good coach. Now, Norville has improved Florida State the last 3 years, so it looks like he knows what he's doing as well. But I'll take Louisville and Jeff Brom.
All right, there you go. Louisville and Jeff Fromm in that spot, says Kenny. Baby. All right, straight ahead. I got a late NBA slate. We got to get to it and find out what's what. What's the best play you can make in the late NBA slate? That's next. I'm Eric Casillas. Yeah, SportsLine.